What's up, everybody? Zac Graham coming to you for FTN Daily, jumping into week 9 of the NFL regular season and talking SuperDraft, where we're going to be dealing with multipliers instead of the typical salary cap structure. If you've never played on SuperDraft before, you can head over to ftndaily.com and check out our comprehensive site review. Then go to superdraft.io, you get registered and sign up, and when you deposit, make sure you use the promo code FTN, and on any deposit of $100 or more, SuperDraft is going to give you $100 in bonus funds with only a 1x playthrough on those bonus funds. So there's no slow drip. You can turn those funds into cash fast. Now let's jump into some of the plays here for week 9, starting as always with the quarterback position. And a familiar name from this weekly video, Jalen Hurts, sitting at 1.25x this week. Certainly a letdown fantasy-wise against the Lions. 40-plus real points for the Eagles last week, and no Jalen Hurts touchdowns to be found. So I think he gets back to that high production level that we've been used to this season. Going home this week to host the Chargers in the third highest game total on the slate. The Eagles are 1-point home dogs, and I think, we see that production come back. We know the threat that Jalen Hurts poses in the run game with his legs, and we like that upside at the quarterback position in DFS. So at 1.25x, I'm going right back to Hurts this week, but at a higher multiplier, I'm also targeting Tua Tagovailoa. The Dolphins are hosting the lowly Houston Texans this week, and the Dolphins pretty lowly themselves, but 6.5-point home favorites here, and the Texans have been bleeding fantasy points at all positions throughout this season. So Tua looking pretty good in the 3 games since he returned from that rib injury. I like him at 1.5x. And looking at some of the backfields, I'm targeting Elijah Mitchell. In that 49ers backfield, he's at 1.4x. And Mitchell's had a massive workload over the last 2 weeks and really throughout the season when he's been healthy. 18 carries in each of his last 2 games, getting into the end zone in both games. Not something we can always count on from our running backs, but we know that he's going to get the work, and I'm targeting that volume. We know that a Kyle Shanahan offense is friendly to whoever the bell cow back is, and I expect that to still be Mitchell this week. And another target of mine in that same multiplier range is Cordero Patterson, 1.45x for the Atlanta Falcons. And, unfortunately, it looks like Calvin Ridley is still going to be away from the team this week. So I wish him, a speedy return and hope that everything gets right in his life. But Cordero Patterson, even with Ridley active through, most of this season, he's averaged 15 opportunities per week. And he's got the upside in the passing game with those multiple targets every week from Matt Ryan and maybe some increased opportunity going forward as Ridley remains away from the team. So I like Patterson at 1.45x. And shifting to the wide receivers, another familiar name making a repeat appearance from last week's video is Mike Williams of the Chargers. He's sitting at 1.4x, and the production has declined from, the wide receiver 1 overall type numbers that we saw to begin the season. Only 5 targets in each of his last 2 games. But it's a better matchup this week, going against the Patriots last week, who do a great job of taking out the opponent's best players. Better matchup against the Eagles this week. We talked about that high game total, and I think the combination of that and his 1.4x multiplier makes for a good play this week for a guy who can threaten with multiple touchdown upside anytime he steps on the field. And I'm also looking at Jalen Waddles. The Dolphins, we talked about the Texans matchup. He's sitting at 1.5x this week, and you can pair him up with his quarterback, Tagovailoa. Waddle's been a target monster at times throughout this season, and one of these days, he's going to put it all together. The targets, receptions, maybe a touchdown or 2. One of these games, he's going to have an absolute monster week, and I can think of no better week than against the Texans at home. So I like pairing Waddle 1.5x with Tua at that same multiplier. And as we slide to the tight end and close things out, another guy that I like pairing with one of my quarterback targets is Dallas Goedert, sitting at 1.45x. You can pair him up with Jalen Hurts. He's my favorite Philadelphia target if you want to run that stack. He hasn't found the end zone yet since Zach Ertz got shipped off to Arizona, but the targets have been there. Maybe lost a little production in the blowout last week. I would not be surprised to see double-digit targets for Dallas Goedert in this game. So I like pairing him with Jalen Hurts. And if you want to look to that full punt range, we talked about it on last week's Sunday study. We had some success with Pat Freiermuth catching that touchdown for Pittsburgh. And we also talked about Dan Arnold, who was overshadowed a little bit by Freiermuth's score. But Dan Arnold, 10 targets last week, 8 catches, did just fine for himself with that 2x multiplier. And over the last 3 games, he's averaging nearly 8 targets per game. So if he's able to get into the end zone and keeps anywhere close to that same production in the target and receiving yards game as he did last week, I mean, a touchdown on top of that production can absolutely launch you to the top of the leaderboard. So I like getting some exposure to Dan Arnold at that 2x multiplier. That's going to do it for me this week. I appreciate you watching, and make sure you're checking out FTN Daily all week. All of our SuperDraft-oriented content, NFL and NBA, is free for you to peruse and then go over there and take advantage of on SuperDraft. It all culminates every week, Sunday morning, the SuperDraft Sunday Study, hosted by yours truly, my friends Javi Perlezo, Vlad Sedler, very sharp SuperDraft players in their own right. We'll talk for 30 minutes for free on the FTN YouTube page, the FTN Daily Twitter handle. That's 11 a.m. Eastern for half an hour for free on Sunday morning. So we hope to see you then, and good luck in your contest this week.